Okay, let's come to a very intuitive concept that everybody is confused about, and everybody is, familiar with it, but everybody does not understand what it is. So mass is something very, 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 very secretive, and we just take it for granted, but it is not that easy to understand what mass is. So let's talk about mass. Mass is basically the amount of matter, the total amount of matter that is present in something. For example, I can have a block of something, a block of steel, a block of ice, a block of iron, whatever, and the mass of that thing is going to be the total amount of matter that is present inside that, right? So we know that the whatever this block is made up of, it is made up of atoms, and it is made up of molecules, and it is made up of very tiny particles, right? So the sum of all those particles, the measure of the amount of all those particles that are present inside this contained volume is going to be called the mass. And we will soon learn that we can also be defining mass using a term that is called inertia. But let's actually keep it simple. In this video, we'll be talking about the total amount of matter that is present in something, right? So mass of this thing should always be equal to the density the density of this thing into the volume of this thing, right? So let's try to understand what is density. Density is basically, we will actually have a separate video for density as well. But let's actually try to understand what is density. Density is basically just the how close these particles that this block is made up of. How close are those particles to each other? So the closer they are, the more matter, the amount of matter is going to be present inside this fixed volume, right? And volume is basically the three-dimensional space that this is occupying. The greater the three-dimensional space this block would be occupying, the more the amount of matter is going to be present there, and the greater will be the mass. And similarly, the greater the density, the closer the particles are, the more the amount of matter is going to be present inside this block, and greater greater the greater the mass will be, right? So mass is just a property of something, an innate property of something, which is given by the product of density and volume, and it is basically the amount of matter, the measure of the amount of matter present in something. So this could be the simplest way or simplest technique to understand what is mass.